Immigration is what made California into a slum, and there's kind of no way around that.
America's big cities used to be symbols of success. Now, some of them look more like failed experiments you'd rather not live in. Budgets are bleeding, crime is exploding, and people are fleeing faster than moving trucks can keep up. In some places, it's not just decline, it's a full-on collapse. So today, let's talk about 7 US cities that are falling apart in real time. From car theft capitals to budget black holes, each one comes with a, wait, is this real life moment. Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles, the city of dreams. If your dream is to pay $2,500 a month to live next to a tent city under the freeway, let's start with a number nobody wants to say out loud: 72,000 homeless people in LA County. That's not a typo, that's more than the population of entire US cities. Basically, LA has a hidden city inside of it, but instead of coffee shops and grocery stores, it's RVs parked on sidewalks and people cooking ramen over a trash fire. And while all that's happening, LA proudly holds the title of car theft capital of America. Nearly 200 cars stolen every single day. If you've ever thought about moving to LA, don't bother bringing your car. Just leave the keys on the hood, save yourself the trouble. Here's the kicker. 106 corporate headquarters bailed since 2018, taking their jobs and tax dollars with them. The city responded by cutting 1,700 jobs to balance a $1 billion deficit. Nice work, guys. So what's left? A playground for the ultra-rich behind gated walls, a disappearing middle class, and everyone else fighting over parking spaces that may or may not still have a car in them. Los Angeles isn't just collapsing, it's collapsing in style. Hollywood-level drama minus the happy ending. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, and by love, we mean please don't steal my catalytic converter. Here's the reality check. 3 out of 10 kids in Philly live in poverty. That's not struggling, that's poverty, the kind where you're choosing between paying rent or keeping the lights on. Add in the opioid crisis, and entire neighborhoods look like a zombie apocalypse set. Kensington Avenue, it's so infamous it has its own YouTube walking tours, usually captioned, "Viewer discretion advised." But wait, it gets worse. Car thefts jumped 70% in 1 year. That's not a crime wave, that's the city collectively speedrunning Grand Theft Auto. You park your car at night, and in the morning, boom. Congratulations, you're now a SEPTA commuter. And the population story isn't any brighter. While Philly's numbers technically ticked up, it's only because of international arrivals. Meanwhile, 15,000 Americans said nope and left. When your growth depends on imports because your own citizens are fleeing, that's not growth, that's replacement. So what you're left with is a city bleeding families, drowning in poverty, and starring in its own zombie flick. Philly isn't just collapsing, it's collapsing with cheesesteak breath. Chicago, Illinois. Chicago, home of deep dish pizza, Michael Jordan, and, unfortunately, some of the worst stats in America. Let's start with the murder rate. 573 murders in 2024, the highest of any US city. If you're black in Chicago, your murder rate is 20 times higher than if you're white. That's not a typo 20 times. Forget Windy City, what the bleep city? Meanwhile, the police department is 1,600 officers short and spending nearly $293 million in overtime. Translation? Cops are basically working double shifts just to keep up with stolen Kias. And speaking of cars, thefts hit a 23-year high. At this point, the city should just rebrand itself as Drive-Through Auto Auction. And the math doesn't help. Chicago has a $1 billion budget hole and the highest taxes in the nation. Combine high taxes, high crime, and high rent, and you get the classic recipe for an exodus. 347,000 residents have already left since 2020. Here's the twist. Despite all this, Chicago still throws a world-class St. Patrick's Day parade, dyes the river green, and sells hot dogs that tourists line up for. So yeah, the city's collapsing, but at least it's collapsing with mustard, not ketchup. New York City, New York. New York City, the place where dreams are made and bank accounts are destroyed. Let's talk numbers. The city is staring down a $10 billion deficit by 2028. 10 billion. That's not a budget hole, that's a black hole. And here's the genius solution. Massive tax hikes. Because obviously the way to keep people from leaving is to take even more of their money. Brilliant. Meanwhile, New York is spending $4 billion a year just to house new arrivals. At the same time, 146,000 Americans packed up and left last year. So if you're middle class, congratulations, you're now paying higher taxes to fund housing for people replacing your neighbors. Welcome to New York math. But wait, there's more. Property taxes? Higher for working families in Queens than for luxury condo owners in Manhattan. Cost of living? Unstoppable. And unless you're super rich or rock bottom poor, the middle class in NYC is basically an endangered species. The result? A city where you're taxed to death, priced out of housing, and still forced to dodge rats the size of chihuahuas on your walk home. New York isn't just collapsing, it's collapsing with style, neon lights, and a very expensive subway ride. San Francisco, California. San Francisco, the city of startups, sourdough bread, and sidewalks that double as obstacle courses. Let's start with the stat that should make every investor sweat. 34% of downtown San Francisco office space is empty. That's nearly 1 in 3 buildings. If it hits 30%, experts say it could trigger a property freefall. Translation, downtown could end up looking like a Silicon Valley ghost town minus the tumbleweeds. And businesses know it. Since 2018, 156 corporate headquarters have packed up and left. They took their jobs, their tax money, and probably their favorite burrito spot with them. Meanwhile, the city is juggling a $14.6 billion annual budget and still somehow staring down an $800 million deficit. That's like making $200,000 a year and still maxing out your credit cards. But here's the headline number. 8,323 people counted as homeless, the highest per capita rate in the country. For comparison, San Francisco spends more per homeless person than most Americans make in a year and still can't keep human feces off the sidewalks. And the population? 45,000 residents have left since 2019. The ones moving in? They just haven't gotten the Yelp reviews yet. San Francisco isn't just collapsing, it's collapsing while charging you $7 for a latte. Portland, Oregon. Portland, once known as the quirky, artsy city of craft beer and food trucks. Now, more like the city of boarded-up storefronts and please don't step on that needle. Here's the headline. After Oregon decriminalized hard drugs in 2020, overdose deaths skyrocketed. Portland has become the poster child for unintended consequences. Downtown is dotted with tents, open drug use, and retail stores saying nope. Big names like Nike, REI, and Walmart have all shut down major locations here. When even Walmart says a city is too sketchy, you know it's bad. Crime tells the same story. Murders have doubled since 2019, and car thefts are way up. Add in a police department stretched thin, and it feels less like quirky Portlandia and more like a choose-your-own-adventure survival game. And people are noticing. For the first time in decades, Portland's population is actually shrinking. Families are leaving, businesses are leaving, and the city's Keep Portland Weird slogan has turned into Keep Portland Standing, Please. The irony? Portland was once ranked one of America's most livable cities. Today, it's living proof that a city can go from cool and hip to collapse with a side of IPA in just a few years. St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis is like that friend who peaked in high school and never quite recovered. Once a major U.S. city, today it has the highest murder rate per capita in America. Yes, higher than Chicago. Higher than Detroit, and the population cut in half since 1950. The downtown looks like someone forgot to hit save on urban planning. Businesses leave, crime stays, and the tax base? It's shrinking faster than my Wi-Fi signal in a basement. Even the Rams packed up and left, and honestly, who could blame them? But here's the kicker. While residents are fleeing, housing is dirt cheap. You can still find homes under $100,000. Sounds great, until you realize the neighborhood comes with free bullet holes and a complimentary for sale sign on every block.